It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. I'd like to thank you all for being here, and thank you, Monica, for inviting me to speak today on this most important subject. Now, down through our human recorded history, we have collectively cried out, peace, peace, peace. We want peace. We need peace, and we wish and desire to bring about peace. And so far, down to these centuries to today, this peace has continued to elude us. This peace that so many, for so long, for all good reasons, yet seems to be a difficult thing for us to achieve. We desperately need to ask why and how we may individually and collectively change and alter this precarious human condition. There are perhaps many reasons why we as members of the human species continue this alienating condition. Fear, hatred, suspicion, prejudices, tribalism, nationalism, greed, conquest, power, and human misunderstandings, to say the least. What is this problem that we have with ourselves that we find it so difficult to live with each other in a condition of unity, peace, harmony, brother, sisterhood, and dignity without the threat of a nuclear holocaust that continues to be an imminent threat to our human survival and all life on our world? I will say that this with audacity, that no one person or group or state or nation or nations have a right to bring about the condition to precipitate this mad and outrageous possibility. There are at least 8 world nations who possess the nuclear arms potential to annihilate countless millions of our fellow human beings, and that has the nuclear and thermonuclear power to destroy all higher forms of life many, many times over. And poised at any moment, the leaders of these nations have their fingers on the nuclear button that can end it all. As world citizens and custodians of life on our world, we cannot continue to endorse and enable this potential madness to continue. So what can we do? Most of us feel incompetent or impotent to do or participate in any coherent activity that might reverse and stop the situation. But the matter is not lost, and the solution can be at hand. We need to start a conversation on the subject of how our human species can bring about peace, unity, cooperation, and human solidarity, and address ourselves to the real needs of our fellow human beings and concerns for our majestic homeworld we call the Earth. We need to know and grow to understand the underpinnings of why we engage in these national, tribal, political, ideological, and religious and social alienating forces and considerations. Would not the tremendous expenditures wasted on war machines and weapons of mass destruction not be better utilized for the wellness and betterment of the peoples of our world through global enlightenment education programs, world health programs, justice and security for all in the present nations and states? We ought to be waging peace and understand unity and cooperation programs globally to safeguard the future posterity of human lives for all life, and also are entitled to survive in our world as well. We need to have a global human solidarity charter or manifesto that all peoples can be taught, engaged in, and carry out to bring about an enlightened, coherent world civilization. And we already have one. Did you know that? It's called the United Nations Charter of Human Rights and Freedoms, completed in 1948. This document was designed to avert wars, hostilities, and aggressions between nations, and holds the means and foundation upon which all human beings can agree to live in peace. It is a most profound document to read and holds and holds 30 fundamental principles on how this global solidarity can take place. The only problem is that very few nations are practicing and implementing this charter into the hearts and minds of its citizenry. I am convinced that if this would have been done back in the early part of 1948 and to today, that many of the deaths through wars and acts of terrorism that have plagued our world for decades. Well, I presented a cursory description of the problem. And now what can we do to contribute to solving the problem? Here are some additional thoughts and ideas on how we can take action. There is a connection between our interior lives and our outer actions. First of all, we have to begin with ourselves. The first thing that we have to do is to look inward. That inward look entails a willingness to accept ourselves as we are. We must first learn to love ourselves before we are truly able to love anyone else. Helps along the way. We have to live one day at a time, not in the past with regret and sorrow, nor in the future with longing and dread. We have to accept each present moment as an unrepeatable miracle. We have to store pleasant memories of past and present successes. We have to learn from nature. We have to be in awe of the wonders of creation with their infinitely healing assurances that dawn comes after the night and spring after the winter. We need to learn to heal from bad experiences. We need to be peacemakers and goodwill ambassadors, and to be true to all the great principles of truth, ideals, values, and philosophies which we have experienced to be true with our consciousness. All collective humanity, all races, creeds, nationalities, etc., as well as the innumerable other species of life on our majestic home planet we call the Earth, are counting on us. Now, I'd like to address myself to the fact that essentially we're all human beings living on this planet. We are fundamentally more alike than our superficial idiosyncratic differences. I know that our planet has been sort of alienated because of these so-called superficial differences. They're superficial in the grand universal cosmic scheme of things, but when you get right down to it, subjectively, they're all very important. Our belief, our worldview, our belief system, what we believe and what we don't believe, and what we believe about other people that don't believe as we believe, and so on. However, we all have to, we don't have to, but we ought to recognize that we all need to become planetary peace patriots. And I've kind of put together a few ideas. I have written that I am a peace patriot, as old as young and as endless as existence itself. My hands do the work to contribute to peace in the world and to uphold and make integrity paramount in the marketplace, community, and in the nation. My eyes seek out good men and women that we may join in brother-sisterhood for world peace. My ears hear the cry and prayer of humanity for peace and the call for intelligent guidance, unity, and progress. My voice speaks for freedom, justice, and human rights for all humankind. My mind teaches me allegiance to all the great enlightened principles of law, justice, and social order. My heart beats with love, compassion, and respect for all humankind on our planet. My soul rejoices for every triumph, truth, and realization of the human spirit. My hope is for a better society, civilization, and world reflected through a more enlightened humanity. My motto, stewardship for world peace, evolving through world peace education. My creed, as proclaimed by Thomas Paine, an 18th century American philosopher, my country is the world, my religion to do good. All mankind are my kin and brethren. And my pledge is to internalize, practice, and apply the noble values, truths, and principles for bringing about a better world for the preservation, progress, and unity of all humankind. our ultimate human right. I, you, we must proclaim that we have the right to live in a world free from the ravages of war, terrorism, and the horrors of chemical, biological, and explosive killing weapons brought on by nationalistic, tribal, and ideological conflicts. This is your ultimate human right. And we must apply that as quickly as possible. Next. People have brought poems, I understand, today. And here is one of the poems that I have brought. If I can find it. Too many papers. Too many papers. Okay, here it is. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. You've heard something like this before. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that we intend to be. With all humanity, we must gather, brothers and sisters, all we are. Let me walk with the other to bring our planet in harmony. Let this peace begin with me. Let's begin this process now. And with every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to bring forth the vision of peace and dignity. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. I have one more thing to share, and here it is. That I am a patriot of peace when I effectively exercise my intelligence to the advantage of myself and my fellow human beings. When I respect others' opinions which may differ from my own. When I show support to protect the rights, freedoms, and property of others. When I endeavor to use my position to advance the opportunities for others. When I imagine everyone, everywhere, to be entitled to the same privileges that I enjoy. When I use my heritage as an opportunity to share and enjoy the resources of nature. When I practice the philosophy of live and let live. When I make success in life a matter of helping people to discover their role in society and how this may transfer into a wider understanding and experience of life. When I think the minds of people ought to be guided by reason rather than by force. When I become the manifestation of cosmic potential in the universal scheme of things. And again, when I live the credo, the world is my country, to do good is my religion, and regard everyone everywhere as brothers and sisters. And then finally, promise yourself that in your life, that in your attitude, in your intention, in your behavior, to strive to do good and to be a decent human being and share a positive, optimistic outlook on life with others. And I thank you very much for listening, and bless all of you. Thank you.